Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Before I become at all official, apparently Geelong are leading by 6 points at quarter time. We'll see if we get a chance to get you some other scores during the night. For those who I haven't had the opportunity to meet, my name is Doug McGee, and in my role as the Warden of Convocation, I'll be chairing our proceedings this evening. The University of Western Australia acknowledges the custodians and traditional owners of land on which any of its campuses are located. At the main campus, Crawley, the University acknowledges the Whadjuk Noongar people as the traditional owners of the land on which it's situated. The Whadjuk Noongar remain the spiritual and cultural custodians of their land and continue to practice their value, languages, beliefs and knowledge. It's now my pleasure to welcome you to the Spring Ordinary Meeting for 2019. I'd particularly like to welcome former Chancellor and former Governor, Dr Ken Michael, AC, SIT WA, the 2019 Guild President, Conrad Hogg, Professor Simon Biggs, Senior Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Mr Taib Shah, Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Global Partnerships, Guest Speaker, Professor Peter Veth, members of the UWA Senate, members of Convocation Council and all the members of Convocation, including their guests and friends. It's great to have you here this evening. I'll now formally declare the meeting open at 6:31 p.m. Note I have apologies from Honourable His Excellency Kim Beazley AC, the Governor of Western Australia, the Chancellor, the Hon Robert French AC, Vice-Chancellor Professor Dawn Freshwater, and over 800 members of Convocation. And I can attest to the fact that we do have those apologies. I checked with Renita today. So there are a lot of people who would like to be with us tonight who can't and have registered their apologies. It's impressive. If anyone wishes to convey any further apologies, could I ask they provide these to Convocation Officer Ms Juanita Perez, who will record their details. After the meeting will be fine. I now move to item 3 on the meeting agenda, the minutes of the autumn ordinary meeting held on Friday the 22nd of March 2019, which are enclosed in the meeting booklet for this meeting. Are there any amendments to these minutes? If not, as required under item 4, can I ask someone who attended the autumn ordinary meeting this year to move acceptance of the minutes? Professor Leslie Carla, thank you. And someone to second that motion? Dr Angela Evangelina Yanakis, thank you. And all those in favour of accepting the minutes, please. Show of hands. Thank you. Carried. Business arising from the minutes. I now move to item 5 on the agenda, business arising. We continue to make the agenda papers available online, and a link for this documentation was provided in the email reminder sent out earlier this week, and I hope you found that of benefit and useful. The Q&A, recognising the challenge of time and the breadth of the panel and a special request from Vice-Chancellor, we have again called for questions on notice for this meeting. We received a solid contribution. From these, we've chosen 10 questions, and 8 of these will be addressed by our panel in the Q&A session. 2 questions will be directed to Mr Taib Shah after he speaks, as he must depart early. I also have received 2 questions from the floor. We made the call last meeting for people to register before the meeting, and it's happened this time. We will conclude the Q&A at 8:25 p.m, as there are other duties to attend to at that time. Item 6 is correspondence. Convocation receives much correspondence on many matters, both as emails and letters, and they are largely addressed to and by our Convocation Officer and me as Warden. I wish to thank all the members of Convocation who took the time to contact me and Convocation Council in that period, as we value members' views on issues important to Convocation. 2 recent items of correspondence have come from elderly members who thought they had to resign from Convocation because of their advanced years. We quickly confirmed they're members for life and accompanied a letter to them with a bouquet of flowers each. And we now come to item 7, the Vice-Chancellor support, and this is included in the meeting booklet at page 24. Since the autumn ordinary meeting held in March, Convocation has continued to play an active role within the university and its ongoing development. The university's highlights are particularly well covered by the Vice-Chancellor's report for this meeting, which will be taken as read. With the Vice-Chancellor unable to attend this evening, we are very pleased to welcome Mr Taib Shah, the new Deputy Vice-Chancellor for Global Partnerships, to his first ordinary meeting and to hear from him on his new role. Taib.
Doug, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It's a real pleasure to be here, and I'm particularly pleased that I'm able to make it because I'm actually due to fly out this evening. So you'll have to forgive my brief appearance, but I'm grateful to my colleague Simon Biggs, who's going to step in for the remainder of this ordinary meeting. So I will just say a few brief words by way of introduction. I am a Brexit refugee. I've been here in Perth for about 10 weeks. I've experienced all kinds of weather. The wettest June, I'm told, for 14 years. That was a delight. The sort of things the headhunters never tell you. But now I'm beginning to experience some of the nicer weather, the kind of weather I was expecting when I first signed up to this wonderful role, apart from yesterday, of course, where again I was caught out without my trusty umbrella. See, I come from London, and in London, as the rest of the UK, in fact, we travel with our umbrellas everywhere. And I was assured when I move here, I wouldn't need my umbrella. So I, of course, packed it away. But I've learned that lesson now. And some of my colleagues have kindly donated a UWA umbrella, so I keep that in my office. Good. So I am the Deputy Vice-Chancellor for Global Partnerships. Global Partnerships is a broad title that covers 4 distinct areas of the university. The Global Engagement Office, which deals with partnerships and connects UWA to the academic world, so universities across the globe, for joint dual degrees, for student and staff mobility, to ensure that our research is collaborative with other institutions. They also deal with scholarship councils around the world, as well as research funders. And that's an important role. They are the ones that are connecting us into this increasingly globalized universities network and recognizes that we, in isolation, do not have the solutions for some of the grand challenges that the whole of the globe faces, that we need to work in partnership with other like-minded, similarly ranked institutions across the globe to address some of these global challenges. So that's the Global Engagement Office. The second part of the portfolio is the Cultural Precinct. And as many of you will know, that includes the Lawrence Wilson Art Gallery, the Burnt Museum of Anthropology, UWA Publishing, and of course the Perth Festival. And there's not many universities that can lay claim to having founded a wonderful festival, of having an iconic indigenous collection, of having a publishing house. And so it's wonderful to see that. The third pillar of this portfolio is innovation and industry engagement. And that, again, is about developing partnerships for the university, for its faculty and for its students, connecting it with business and industry, working together on research, providing training and expert advice, and so on. The last component is development and alumni relations, and through that, of course, convocation. And again, an important function of a modern university. It has to have the ability to work with philanthropists and with donors and with alumni most especially, to contribute to the growth of the institution. So I'm particularly pleased to be here this evening because convocation, as graduates of UWA, You are the history of the institution. You are the ambassadors of this institution. And most importantly, you are the lifeblood of this institution. Universities evolve over time. If I think back to when I first started in higher education to now, they've changed a lot. I dare say UWA has changed much from your time here. We'd like to think it's changing for the better. As I mentioned before, it's now much more engaged in working with international partners across the globe. It's working much more with industry and the community and so on. What we're trying to be is a porous institution. Not those hallowed ivory towers, but an institution that is open and welcoming to all from across the community, from across the city and beyond. And therefore, it's important that UWA reflects that. And I believe it does. It's a beautiful campus, a very attractive campus, if I may say. Probably one of the most attractive campuses in the world. It's blessed in that regard. And I think we ought to share that more broadly with our partners. So, global partnerships. It's about global engagement. It's about industry, engagement and innovation, the cultural precinct, and development and alumni relations. Very broad portfolio. What does it have in common? I would suggest that it has the fact that it is working in partnership with different constituencies is its common thread. It's working together with those partners, local, citywide, statewide, national, international, to create shared value. In partnerships where there are winners on both sides, the university does not claim to have all of the answers. Yes, we're in the knowledge business, but we work in partnership to co-create. So it's about creating shared value. And that, for me, is the leitmotif, the common thread across this broad portfolio. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Taib. Now, as indicated, Taib, we have two questions on notice for you, and they'll be on the screen shortly. From Jeff Gunningham, I'll read it so everyone can understand. UWA has a proud history which began as a civic university with strong support from its local community. Whilst your primary focus is global partnerships, what steps will you be taking to connect with the communities around you, and in particular, the graduates of UWA?
Jeff, thank you for that question. UWA, yes, is a civic university. It was, it is, and it always will be. The portfolio may carry the title global, but if you'll have noticed, only 1/4 of it is specific to international. It is predominantly about engaging with the community here, with the city, the state in particular. And that is an important facet of any university. There are something like 26,000 universities across the globe. UWA is blessed that it is in the top 100. It allows us to partner with like-minded institutions around the world, and in a globalized, an increasingly globalized world, that is an important facet. So it's key that we try and promote that, and we leverage that in a manner that will benefit our students, our faculty, and our community more broadly. But if we look at those elite institutions in that top 100, what stands them apart, I would suggest to you, and what differentiates them, is their location and their local communities. Those are the distinguishing factors. Every university in the top 100 has excellent faculty, outstanding students, wonderful facilities. But what makes them unique is its location. And for me, UWA is Perth, and Perth is UWA. That cannot and will not be changed. And so this portfolio may say global partnerships, but it is very much about building the links across this city and state. It is very much about connecting us to the world at the same time and being a thought leader in that regard. And so I see this as a wonderful opportunity, this portfolio, to really knit together the international with the local and civic. And there's an important role for all of you in that regard. Thank you.
I'm not surprised with the answer. I've had a couple of meetings with Taib already, and have to say I'm very encouraged that the global has the local meaning as well. It's incredibly good to hear. Second question from Raj Kurup. Convocation and its council are very capable, but are somewhat hidden in the structure and location as a part of alumni relations. The 2030 plan recognises Convocation as an untapped resource. The master plan suggests an inward focus of buildings onto James Oval for the campus. Why not give Convocation a defined office in the Irwin Street building so it can operate independently to support an even more successful UWA?
You'll have to forgive me, I haven't seen the master plan yet. I've only been here 10 weeks. I'll probably answer that question better in a few months' time. But my initial thoughts on this and reflections is that Convocation works in partnership with alumni relations. And for that reason, ought to be co-located. They are very much the two sides of the same coin. They work in tandem and together. And that is a key and important facet. And it is, again, it's one of those distinguishing features that makes this particular university unique. So my feeling 10 weeks in is very much that Convocation and alumni relations need to work more closely together in partnership. And I'm certainly of the mind that we need to work proactively and constructively to ensure that we do achieve the common goal that we have, which is to ensure that UWA is the premier institution in this state, continues to be so and always will be so, and that it is an outstanding global university that all corners of this earth are aware of. That's an important message that needs to come through you as Convocation members and all of our alumni. You are the ambassadors of this university. The role that you play is helping to connect us to the world. It is supporting our students as you do, whether it's through mentorship, providing work experience opportunities and the like. These are important roles. You are the ones that connect this great institution to the rest of the world. And that is a role that has to be played in partnership, together. Thank you.
Taib, thank you very much, and I think there's encouragement all around from the answers we have. And Taib, a welcome from Convocation more generally. It's been from Council so far, but I'm sure that we all wish you a very successful time with UWA and a very successful UWA with your time.
Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you,
And happy flying too. The next item is the Guild President's report. It's at item 8 on our agenda, included in the agenda booklet at page 27. I now invite the Guild President, Mr. Conrad Hogg, to present his report to Convocation. Please welcome Conrad.
Good evening, everyone. It's very good to be here, both as the current Student Guild President and as a member of Convocation myself. And I'm delighted to present my report. It's largely as read in the booklet, but I have a few slides and would like to draw out some of the highlights. So as you are all hopefully aware from your time at the university, the UWA Student Guild is the representative body of students at the university. We're run for students by students, and our key goal is to improve the experience of every student that studies at this great university. This is a picture of my Guild Council. We're a group of about 30 students who govern the Guild both as a body that delivers services and amenities to students, but also as a representative council for students at the university. We're very happy that our elections have just concluded yesterday, so very shortly there'll be a whole new council and I will be irrelevant. We really have 5 core functions as students see it, and this has evolved as the Guild has continued to grow and change with the university. So it may have changed slightly from what the Guild did in your time at the university, although the core threads of the 4 objectives of the Guild as laid out in the statute have remained the same. The key tenet of what we do is always going to be student representation. The Guild is the student voice at the university, and it's integral that student representatives are there to have the voice of the students heard more broadly at the university, but especially at the University Senate. We offer opportunities to get involved, primarily through the great network of clubs and societies at the university, but also through our Guild volunteering service, which connects over 3,000 students each year with volunteering opportunities at over 200 not-for-profits in the community. We operate a lot of food and drink on campus. We operate a number of cafes in the tavern, which offer students high-quality food and beverages, but also create a surplus which can be used for purpose to deliver other activities. We offer support services. As detailed in the report, we have a student assist service which helps to advocate for students and provide them with academic, financial and welfare assistance. And lastly, we act as a central point of information and advice for all students at the university. What we've been up to this year is detailed within the report, but there are a few achievements that I would like to highlight. My council has worked extremely hard this year, and I'm extremely proud of all of the hardworking volunteers. Some of the key things that we've been able to do are opening 5 new outlets in the refectory. What this has done is create a lot more diversity of food on campus, which is really important with growing and adapting student cohorts. With students from many different backgrounds who like to eat many different types of food. We've also recently signed a heads of lease with IGA, the supermarket chain, so there'll be a supermarket opening on campus at the beginning of next year, which is very exciting. We've done a number of changes to the way the Guild communicates with students so that we can better hear students' voices and communicate messages from the Guild about things that are going on in the university and within the student life. We've implemented programs of wellbeing volunteers to help people to support their peers. And the last one that I'd like to highlight is all of the work that we've been doing with the university around the assessment policy to ensure that students can be assessed fairly while they're at university. This is all part of our strategic plan. In 2018, we embarked on quite an ambitious strategic plan with 4 central tenets, aiming to improve student support at the university in the light of particularly student mental health, which is a growing concern for many universities around the world, increasing engagement of students with activities on campus and with the Guild, representing the student voice and better spaces on campus. And this has really been our focus moving forward. And the achievements are detailed against those criteria in the report. The last thing I'd like to speak about is the great partnership that we're able to share with the university, which extends to the working relationship that we have with the Convocation. In 2017, the UWA Student Guild became the first student organisation in Australia to adopt a collaborative partnership with the university. What this has meant is that we've worked hand in hand with leaders within the university to improve the student experience, recognising that as a common goal. And because of that, we've been able to work really hard to make changes to academic policy and things that happen outside of the classroom to ensure that every student has a good time at university, no matter what they study or what their background is. So it's been a great pleasure for me to serve as a Student Guild President this year. There's still a couple months left before I fade off into the distance, and it's a great pleasure to be here with all of my fellow members of Convocation. Thank you very much.
And thanks so much, Conrad. Conrad will participate in the Q&A panel later this evening. And now we come to my award and report. Before doing that, though, having just seen and experienced another president of the Student Guild, I think it is certainly worth recognising that in my time where I've been active on council, you can only be impressed with the quality of people, men and women, who come through as Guild President, and it's been interesting observing their success after they leave the position. I don't see any failures in them anywhere. They are very, very special people. So well done, Conrad, and best of luck when you do disappear into the distance. Item 9 on our agenda is the Warden's Report, and a full copy of that is available on pages 35 to 43. I'll take the report as read, but we'll highlight a number of important issues Convocation Council has addressed on your behalf. The UWA Strategic Plan, the VC has asked me that I introduce some key points from the 2030 plan that are related to convocation, and these are shown in the next 3 slides. The vision for UWA in 2030 sees us creating the next generation of global leaders through experience, rich education, and world-leading, trustworthy research. The values show that we're aspiring to excellence in many ways, and the 3rd slide recognises the relationship with convocation. So our industry partners and community leaders, or with our industry partners and community leaders, convocation can play a role in realising our shared vision for the future of Western Australia and the region. That's very powerful, I think, as was highlighted by Taib and recognised by Conrad. We can do a lot. Our interaction, our network can be very powerful across the generations, and we certainly do span the generations here tonight, and that's a great place to be. The network is highly valued by UWA, and the opportunities abound for the shared benefit of collaboration. But let's look a bit more at convocation's fit with UWA's 2030 vision. We're also recognised as an untapped resource. We're far more than our council of 24 and 2 senators. Many of us are near the home base. It's a rich human and strategic resource. We're a significant part of the corporate memory of the university, important at a time of active change, as we're seeing with the university at the moment. We do remain concerned over definitions that may undervalue the importance of graduation from UWA. We're graduates, our members are those with the most investment in a grand future of our university. So our vision. Just a little bit of levity. Simply the best university graduate network in Australia. That's all we need to be. And everyone should be working towards that within convocation and towards convocation to let it happen. The simple mission, supporting graduates for a greater good. That's the end of the musical interlude, by the way. And the value of convocation is often challenged. So in football parlance, we're taking a good hard look at ourselves, a review. You can see the bit about the committee there. And our logo doesn't say a lot about us, but if we think convocation is taking beyond the seeking of wisdom, perhaps we've got wisdom in life, is where we are in convocation. And what if we do something with that logo? Our value lies in our very foundation. We have great corporate memory and we care. We're part of a university under the Act and have been so for 106 years. Our membership grows with each graduation and we represent all graduates. All of us are hugely invested in the university and its reputation is important to us. Convocation is part of the foundation of the university, and our foundation can support the key pillars of the university. So a Senate that knows and understands convocation. Convocation can support staff through community and industry engagement, improving the student experience. Students supporting a great and valuable experience, work integrated learning, service learning, placements, volunteering, pastoral care, and so on. And connecting, communicating with and celebrating the achievement of our members and encouraging a great fit with our communities. We've been here for a long time now and aim to contribute well into the future as a part of a special institution. So maybe that can give a bit of a picture of convocation and how it works. We, as Council, connect, communicate and celebrate. And at a time of review, it was a privilege recently to attend a national engagement conference about the role of the Civic University, fitting with your community. Warren, Jeff and I received some great messages that are relevant to UWA, and we have reported on this. Place is very important, and Taib highlighted that. His new role is absolutely one of partnership and engagement, locally, nationally and globally. Convocation's members can help. We can really play a role. Engaging with community can be a gentle process, as highlighted here by the Australian Catholic University. Aspects of connection with humility, understanding and dignity. We can improve, look, learn and use our skills there. The statute review is ongoing. We're working with the Senate's timeframe of consideration of final versions at the December Senate meeting. Governance Chair Jonathan Strauss is taking the lead, working with Emma Bright from UWA and with support from Greg Calcutt, our residential expert. Greg, an absolute expert in the field. Key recommendations to this stage are as shown on the screen. Council numbers we're suggesting reduce by 3. The immediate past warden stay on council for just 12 months after a change. So they're in an advisory role, but need not be for the full term of the next warden. You can imagine being an immediate past warden for 10 years. You might lose a bit of relevance. Council can be better recognised in the statutes as the management body for convocation. It's a bit vague in there at the moment. Voters, the voting methods need to be clarified, so voters indicate the preference for at least the number of vacancies. And we express a clear preference for electronic voting when conditions allow. And we appreciate that electronic voting is difficult for some of our members, depending on how connected they are. So we have to make sure it comes together correctly and that the transition period is allowed for that. So statute review is ongoing and will be reported on our webpage as it comes together. Now, we've had some sad losses. If you remember the last meeting, we gave you the story of Astrid Boggs, a wonderful member of Convocation who was just so proud and privileged to come to a meeting. She said she was ready to go. Well, sadly, she's gone. And so we miss Astrid. Professor Alex Cohen, just a few weeks ago on a Friday night like this, attended our awards ceremony where he presented his postgraduate research travel award. Within the week, we'd lost Alex. And just in the last week or so, we've lost Dr. Bruce Hartley, a professor, member, absolute rugby stalwart. The rugby club will be missing him very, very sadly, and a regular attendee at our ordinary meetings. So just a moment's silence for those 3 wonderful people, please. Thank you. Elections are approaching. As you know, elections come around every year. There are elections for the warden, and there will be a new warden, deputy and 7 councillors. Be encouraged by the progress that we're making each year and get involved if you think it's appropriate. It's an exciting and challenging place to be on council. I'd like to express some thanks to all of those listed on the slide, but particularly to Deputy Warden Leslie Carla. What amazing energy and sharpness she's shown me over the last 6 months. To Chris Bather, who we've been very fortunate to attract into our employment, so that there's a bit of help there for Juanita, and of course lastly for Juanita Perez, our amazing Convocation officer, and the glue to Convocation as it is. Thanks to all of you on the screen, but particular thanks to those 3. The next item is the Convocation Officer's Report. This is a statutory function. It's contained on page 44 of the booklet. It simply contains a list of graduates whose whereabouts have become unknown since our last ordinary meeting in March. The list is there by faculty and year of graduation. And if you can check through and you know the whereabouts of any of those members, then please come back to Anita with details. We would love to be able to make our contact list even more complete. The next item is the audit report. The independent audit report. This is provided for your information in the booklet commencing at page 48. It's been considered and endorsed by Convocation Council on your behalf. The audit report is without any qualifications and demonstrates that Convocation is in a healthy financial state and able to pay its debts when they fall due. On your behalf, I wish to commend the work of our Honorary Treasurer, Councillor Julie Matheson, and the Convocation Officer, Juanita Perez, for their contribution to this excellent outcome. We now come to other business, and there's a bit of special work to do here. A Convocation Medal. The Convocation Medal is periodically awarded by the Convocation Council to members who have distinguished themselves by their service to UWA. Convocation is also very pleased to award a Convocation Medal to the Outstanding Student Volunteer each year. The 2019 Convocation Outstanding Student Volunteer is Elliot Wallace. So Elliot, could you join me up here, please? Now just sit back and wonder for a minute. Elliot is a very deserving recipient who's dedicated considerable time to volunteering in recent years. He's the Volunteering and Community Engagement Chair on the Student Guild, which involves developing policies for the Guild volunteering team, liaising with non-profit organisations and faculty societies to secure partnerships or arrange activities, and various other tasks. Since 2018, he has also been a uni mentor, allowing him to assist new students in their transition to life at UWA. Outside of the university, Elliot helped found and co-manages Coastal Cleanup Crew, a volunteer organisation which focuses on natural resource management. Cleanups occur weekly in areas both north and south of the river. The Convocation Council consists of many dedicated volunteers, and in this spirit, we celebrate the qualities that Elliot embodies. So, Convocation Medal. Elliot, congratulations.
I would like to say a few words that I'm absolutely honoured and speechless to be presented this award, which is probably not a good adjective to use when you're presenting a speech, but being a student at UWA who has just actually applied to graduate today actually, so hopefully will be a member of Convocation soon, I would definitely like to echo the sentiment of what's already been said, that UWA is just a world-class institution, and I definitely feel like students grab every opportunity that they can, especially in light of volunteering. With my work, I really try and nurture that community partnership within the community, within the university, but also more broadly liaising with non-for-profits and the like. But I also think it's a deeper meaning to volunteer your time. Like, there's lots of outstanding people in the room that obviously volunteer quite a bit, and it's in the name of the common good, which I think is great to see along many people in society to create that social impact that we want to see and create a better world. So I'll leave it there because I could probably go on for ages about the benefits of volunteering, but I'm really humbled to even be a student of UWA, let alone to be presented this award. So thank you so much to Convocation and the University of Western Australia. Thank you.
They're always keen to recognise and celebrate outstanding and enduring contributions. And the opportunity to present Convocation medals to such individuals is very important. And should you have ideas and recommendations about deserving members, please contact us. We've actually been a little bit devious about now, and we'd like to present a Convocation medal Let me begin. On behalf of Convocation, it's now my privilege to honour a special individual who has worked for Convocation for over 14 years. When she first joined the staff of UWA in 2001, she was assigned to the Finance and Accounting Department, which later became the UWA Business School. She was assigned to Convocation in 2002 and served 5 years before being seconded to the Confucius Institute for 3 years. Fortunately, she returned to Convocation in 2010 and has been there for the last 9 years in her current capacity as the Convocation Officer. I am, of course, referring to Juanita Perez. The diplomat, confidant, able negotiator, arbitrator, and executive officer who so capably ensures that the requirements of the Warden, Convocation Council and our members are met and exceeded. During her time with Convocation, she's worked with 7 wardens, Sue Baker, Peter Clifton, Matthew Zilko, Simon Dawkins, David Hodgkinson, Warren Kerr and myself, and all have attested to her loyalty, dedication, unruffled positive attitude and good humour during what can often be trying circumstances when simultaneously trying to accommodate the demands and often conflicting timelines of 21 councillors, the Warden, Deputy Warden and 140,000 members. When she was first appointed to Convocation, the primary duties of the Convocation Officer were to provide administrative support to the Warden, Deputy Warden and the 21 members of the Council of Convocation. Following changes implemented after the adoption of the National Governance Protocols by UWA in 2005, the role of the Convocation Officer evolved into an advisory function requiring a substantial amount of technical and legal knowledge of the roles and functions of Convocation, as well as an excellent working knowledge of UWA's operations and structure, so that she could provide advice on UWA governance, financial systems, election arrangements, and strategic initiatives. Consequently, our Convocation Officer not only requires a good working knowledge of UWA's financial systems, governance arrangements, election protocols, public relations requirements, strategic objectives, and operational systems, but also needs to have the interpersonal and diplomatic skills to negotiate the working arrangements necessary to enable Convocation to fulfil its legally designated roles. Her knowledge of the statutes and regulations applying to Convocation, as well as her understanding of the university's accounting systems, has been indispensable to all who have sought her wisdom on these matters over her time serving Convocation Council. So where did this Wonder Woman come from? Juanita was born in Hong Kong. She was educated at the American Express Regional Office Hong Kong School in Taipei from kindergarten to grade 8. Grade 9 was spent in Taiwan at the Dominican International School, and her secondary education was undertaken in New York at the Mary Louise Academy for Girls. She completed her tertiary education in Macau with a Bachelor of Business Administration degree at the University of East Asia. After graduation, Juanita's first job was with the Hyatt Regency in Macau and then Hong Kong. For the next step in her career, she moved to the Asia Shipping magazine in Hong Kong as the advertising manager. Following the experience gained in this position, she was then recruited by the American Express office in Hong Kong as an account manager. Based on the experience she gained in this role, she was appointed corporate sales manager for the Sutton Place 5-star hotel in Vancouver, Canada. However, just 1 year later, she decided to come to Western Australia, aren't we lucky, where she became a business partner in a photography firm for 2 years. She then found that she could utilise all of her skills and experience when she was appointed to UWA. Since that time, Juanita has given 18 years of excellent service to UWA, utilising the invaluable experience she has gained at these top-level international establishments. She interacts effortlessly with a wide range of individuals, ranging from chancellors to students, in a polite and courteous manner, always diligently assuring that the details are recorded and implemented so the business aspects of Convocation proceed without interruption. Throughout her career, she has supported and advised many who've received accolades, while she so often melts into the background when it is she who should be receiving these commendations. So tonight, on behalf of Convocation Council, I am delighted to recognise the person who so capably operates behind the scenes to ensure that Convocation continues its fine legacy of service to UWA. Please join me in congratulating Juanita Perez as I ask her to come to the podium to receive Convocation's highest honour, a Convocation medal, which I have in my pocket.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Wasn't really prepared to give, but I'll say a few words. The Council of Convocation is your elected representative body, and they represent you, the graduates of UWA. And the council is a very committed bunch. They really are. And their enthusiasm, their efforts, and their passion is very inspiring. And they inspire me, and I hope they inspire you too, to continue to be actively involved with your university. Seeing all of you here today is, I guess, I can only describe it as, an awesome attendance. It really makes it worthwhile and encouraging for us to continue to do what we do. So to be recognized this way, to be recognized this way is an honor. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So we had a few surprises tonight, didn't we? Just to deal with some other activities and announcements, the 50th year reunion obviously comes around every year. This year, the reunion luncheon will be held in the banquet hall of the University Club at noon on Saturday, the 2nd of November. The bigger venue enables us to invite more graduates from 50 years ago and from previous years. So if you've missed one and you'd like to come to this one, you are most welcome. If you would like to attend the function, please contact the Convocation office. The contact details are at the back of the meeting booklet. But we always need a bit of help. Graduates from 1969, it's a while ago, I guess you've noticed that, and it's not always easy to locate all of them. So if you can help us with the location of some of those graduates who we don't have contact with, please let us know. Secondly, Armistice Day, the annual remembrance will be held on Monday the 11th of November at 5 p.m. at Whitfield Court. It was held for the first time last year and was very, very successful, and we would strongly recommend that you join with that remembrance this year. Item 13 is the guest speaker.